Can you smell what the flock is cooking? Flock up, flock off. Not sure you stick around because it's about to go down. You know, flock with the most energetic Indian in the Eagleverse. You already know how I like to do around this time, about this time, at this time, man. Woo! We in here, y'all. We in here. Sorry, I've been gone, but I'm back like I never left. I needed some time to decompress from such a, I don't know, disappointing season. Tried to keep face a lot of the time throughout this past season, and just the overwhelming weight of what is to come has finally, I have succumbed to the overwhelming weight of what is to come. That's actually what's happening, because I'm just been thinking over the last few days, man. And it's been reiterated today just by listening to the things that I'm listening to. Like, what's really about to happen? What is about to happen with this team going forward? All the things that we're hearing, man. But let's keep the maniac thing. Let's get the nest keeping out of the way. Please like and subscribe. If you bought that fly, Eagles fly. Drop a comment in the box. If you flying with the flock, let's fly. Do remember, join that maniac thing. Know the gang. You hit that bell, you get a bang whenever I'm on this YouTube thing. Let's fly. Or when I'm in a therapy session, which is actually what this really is. What it has become. What the story's going to be. What it's going to be. What it's going to be. What is it? What it is. Let's fly, y'all, man. While that's the maniac thing, let's keep the main thing the main thing. Hope this video finds you in good vibes, good tides, fly skies. If you're not there, hope this helps you get there, because we about to go there. Oh yeah, speaking of fly guys, fly Desai, our guy Fly Desai is up and away. He's out of here, man. Fly Desai, there's so many things. That was a few days ago, but whatever the case may be, we're gonna get it in here, because this is the first time you hear it from the maniac's mouth. So let's fly and go. So yeah, man, Fly Desai is up out of here, man. And unlike a lot of people out there, man, I feel like this guy got a bad rap, and it's just crazy to me that he was out of here before Brian Johnson was out of here. Brian Johnson was in 2 years, like. And while I like both guys, I feel like I'm a member of the team. I feel like I've grown to know these guys, and I've grown with these guys. And it's just hard for me to just throw these guys to the. It's been 1 year. But even though they took over pretty fine tune, and we've seen other coordinators come in and do great things. Wilkes, he had a rough go at it for a little 3-game stretch with the Niners. You know, people was talking crazy about him. You think of guys like, even when D'Amico Ryans? Dude, I'm tripping over here. Head coach, our boy, former Eagle. Why am I drawing a blank right now? This is what I do. I need my game called Balboa. It's not hitting right. So, D'Amico, right? Ryan? D'Amico. Regardless of whom or what, he comes in, he takes over for the Niners. And why am I talking about the Niners? This is crazy. But he comes in, takes over the job from, what's his name? Not Desai, Salah. He comes over to take over Salah. He keeps the defense going. When something's built and it's made right, it should continue to go right. And I feel like getting back to us, back in our nest, when we made the crucial misstep of letting Denard Wilson go, I feel like just things continue to crumble from there, man. He was a well-loved dude in the locker room, and he might have been that glue guy, that glue coach, that dude that we needed. I mean, I really think that we needed a vet in there, because albeit Nixon Sirianni is the lead of the guys, he had guys that have been doing this for quite some time in Gannon and Steichen. So, you know, and then we just came in, we got pretty much a rookie head coach, not really rookie, but his 3rd-year head coach, and he's got guys that he's left control of to bring them up and bring them to higher places. Guys who had not had this position before prior in their career. Guys like Desai and guys like Brian Johnson. These guys weren't coordinators before. Coordinators perhaps in college, and coordinators in an interim sense for Chicago Bears, but no, not full-year coordinators. So it's just a lot of mess going on. And Denard Wilson, I believe, it would have been that steady vibe, that steady dude that we got in that locker room. Not to mention, I don't know if I said this last video, but I will reiterate it. If you want to go back to last summer, last camp, last year, when we let him go, when he left us, this is the guy that I thought was going to be stepping up. Next up, as far as the defensive coordinator in this room, I mean, all he did was lead some old dudes to the top defensive backfield in the damn league. I didn't call them old back then. They're old now, because hindsight is 2020, of course, right? Regardless, I just felt like Denard Wilson was that guy. The players have echoed my sentiments. The echoes have said as much. And Slade coming out and reiterating that fact that Denard Wilson should have been that guy. Now, the likelihood of him coming back, I don't believe is the case. But back to Desai, while I feel like he got a bad rap, you got to think of all the injuries that this guy incurred. You got to think of what, as much as we love Howie, it seems like maybe us being ahead of things may have been behind in a few things when it comes to that linebacker thing. I know Eagles fans have been saying that for years, and we've always kind of done a patchwork job as far as safeties and linebackers go. Not really with the safeties, because when you think of guys like Malcolm Jenkins, even though I wouldn't say he was a throwaway from the Saints, but we kind of got him for a different. Now we gave him some money, man. Jenkins is the dude, and we need to go back to that. Braden was a throwaway. We picked Braden up off the trash heap, and we lucked out in the fact that, and I get it if how he thinks that's what we could do time and time and time again. If there's places that we could pick up dudes, and like we already know, this has worked, and I know us as fans, we get sick of it, seeing time and time and time again. Bro, like, when are you going to do? Just like, I'm sick of you playing with my food, you know? You got us on a roller coaster road all the time. My stomach is grumbling. You want something, you want to mainstay in that linebacker position, especially when we look at other teams like the Niners and the Ravens. And, well, that was the Bears back in the day. They used to be big on linebackers. Actually, I think they're getting it back together again. Who cares? Whatever, that's them. Just regardless, I don't know where do you think we should go with this. I don't know, but Desai is up out of here. And I just feel like he got a bad rap. He didn't have quite the guys that he needed. He was dealing with an injury roller coaster all season. You have big guys, big names going down all over that defense. The starting linebacker gone straight from the beginning of the season, missed 13 games. You got your starting, who's a big deal in this defense, at least as far as I see it. If you're not going to have linebackers, you're going to need a slot corner, because slot corners are basically hybrid linebackers, whatever. Avonte Maddox out for most of the damn season. Then we got a patchwork of dudes that we actually cut. Zach Cunningham came off the couch. Morrow that we cut, and we brought him back, and now all of a sudden he's our starter for the season. I just feel like the guy had a bad rep, especially when you think of games when he did work. I think back to that LA Rams games when they shut him out for the second half of that game. Pretty big job, pretty good job. You got the Dolphins game. Got a little hairy towards the end. Not really. We held them to 17 points when they were the highest scoring offense in the league at that time, ready to set records. Then a lot of people are going to bring up the Chiefs game where look at it like they should have won that game on a bomb at the end of the game. You know, he had his hiccups. It was his first season. I just think it was a desperation move in the middle of the season, taking the responsibilities from him, and he became the scapegoat. So that's what it's going to have to be. That's what it's going to have to be. I think we will see great things from him going forward. I just have a feeling that he just, I don't know, and it feels like something Gannon said also. I'm not calling anybody on the team dumb, but like, you have to embrace it. You have to buy in, and some things are going to be complex. And Gannon said it when he was on the team. Like, just seems like the guys aren't picking up on what he's doing. And then he goes to another team. It seems like they got it, albeit they are in the lottery right now. Not the lottery, but they're a top 5 draft pick. So I don't know. They beat us. So there's that. Regardless of what, bye-bye, Fly Desai. He's up out of here. Who do you think is going to be his replacement? Leave it down in the comments. I'm of the thinking that I would like to have a guy in here that has a bit of experience, and they're talking about him right now. Brian Johnson fired as Eagles offensive coordinator. Eagles offense, 18.2 points per game, and final 6 games, 23rd in the NFL. That is wild for a team with the likes of Jalen Hurts, DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Are you fucking kidding me? And one of the best offensive lines in the league. That's wild. As much as I like him, you got to go after putting up numbers like that with a team like this. I have to blame him, because I'm here for Hurts 24/7, 365. I don't care what the flock y'all saying out there. I'm saying in my own little bubble, my Hurts bubble. And yeah, this is how I'm flying. I don't give a flock. Whatever the case may be, you have that going on. So Brian Johnson's out of here. We're going to get to that in a second. But Fly Desai, he's up out of here, and I believe he was a scapegoat. Had to get him up out of here. And if I was to replace him, I want to replace him with a veteran presence, someone of the likes of Ron Rivera. You've got him out there that people are talking about. And you've also have Wink Martindale. Just listening to a few dudes about this Wink Martindale thing. I was listening to, what was it, Sports Take. They had the dude, Bill. I know this is Bill. I forget what it's like, Bull Cavallotto. Something like that. He was on there with Rob Ellis, right? Regardless of what, you got him going out there, and Ron Rivera, I'm really riding more so with Ron Rivera as far as that veteran presence goes, is for the fact that when I look at the numbers, I was looking them up earlier today, over the past few years since he's been with the Commanders, I believe from 2019, I believe, till now. He's always had a top 10 defense. He's a defensive guy. He's familiar with the area. He's familiar with the building. He knows guys in the building, familiar with the owner, familiar with the GM. Look how easily we forget when you have a bad season. Dude, you could not keep... Pause. Howie's name on a premature pause. You couldn't keep Howie's name on him. Howie busting the stupid dope moves. Howie Potter waving that magic wand. You know what I mean? I'm already forgetting the dude's name after a bad season, because it's just left a lot of things to be desired over the last 8, 10 months, whatever, how many months it's been. So we've got that going on around Rivera. If we want that veteran presence, even though the Eagles keep things close to the cuff, we're not really going to hear much what's going on. More than likely, usually we hear guys up and comers, knowing that we was ever thinking about comes through and crushes the buildings and does work. Very rarely have we seen that with the coordinators, though. Once this coordinator carousel gets to going, man, things start to get weird with our organization. We know that we've seen this movie before. We've seen it when we left the Super Bowl last time, when we won the Super Bowl last time. Not so much when we left the Super Bowl. When we won the last Super Bowl, we won the first Super Bowl we won. Look at me acting like I got a bunch of these things. Regardless, we get a little spoiled, right? So you got that going on. We saw once Frank Reich left. Frank Reich leaves the building. Quarterbacks coach D. Filippo leaves the building. I believe our special teams coach. Just it was a mass exodus out of here for a bunch of coaches after we won that Super Bowl, and much like we just appeared this time, a bunch of dudes left the building again, and it's hard to maintain that stability when we're going with the young up and coming dudes. When you got a guy much like the guy Bill Caputo, whatever the flock his name was, he was saying these same things that you get a guy, you get these young guys. They're looking for head coaching jobs, and they're going to get head coaching jobs, and then they're up out of here. Give us a guy like a Rivera who's ran through the gamut of having coaching jobs, and he probably won't. Unless, of course, he does some crazy, spectacular, amazing job. We've seen it happen with Wade Phillips before. Have a head coaching job, go back to coordinate, and then go get a head coaching job again. Albeit it was with the Bow Boys, and they're looking for someone to bow down to them. But that's another story. We'll leave that for later, not today. But regardless of what, you've got that going on. And I just want give us a common veteran presence in here. Ron Rivera, you've got, like I said, once again, Wink Martindale. The reason a lot of people have, I'm not one of the dudes that was against Wink until I actually heard what Bill on Sports Take said. I have to find this dude's name. Sorry, we're going to keep it all on Bill. Regardless of whom or what, you've got guys like Wink Martindale, and this blitzing thing we want the blitz. We want to see guys blitz like it did back in the day when we had Jim Johnson over here with guys coming up the field going crazy, even though you still see defenses like Sean McDermott, who was a disciple of, and Ron Rivera also. So yeah, give me a disciple of Jim Johnson. Just regardless, I want that. If Sean McDermott gets fired, he'll probably get another head coaching job, so we won't be getting him. But we can get guys of that ilk. I'm with it. Wink Martindale, though, as far as they sacked, I believe, the second most in the league, and they were 29th in sacks. Albeit, I'm not really looking for the pressure always to produce sacks. I just want more pressure. Exotic things happening. You don't know who's coming on what blitz and when. You can attack with for a minute. If we could get him into if we could bring Wink into our philosophy of what the Eagles do, bringing four, but just not knowing which four that's going to be, that would be amazing. Just confuse the quarterback a bit more, man. I feel like a lot of things, even though I feel like at certain times that's what Desai was doing, and we just bailed on that dude too fast. But then once Patricia came through, it just looked straight vanilla. Front four, boom, do what you do. And it was just a bunch of individuals out there trying to figure out where they were going next. That's what it felt like towards the end of the season. I don't ever want to see an Eagles team look like that. More often than not, it's a concerted effort, and that's what you're going to win with. Connectivity, which is what our coach touts all the time. We need connectivity. We need to be 11 and 111. 11 as one. The sum of our parts are greater than the mass. Well, you get with all those things. I can't even get my cliches right today, man, because I'm just so out of sorts. And we're going to get into that with Jalen Hurts. Dude, we're going to be here for a while today. I hope you're strapped in. Should I stop it right now and start another bit? Whatever. We're going to try and fly through this like we always do. So we got that going, and then we've got Brian Johnson, who's up out of here, right? What are we going to do with the defensive coordinator? We have to figure out what we're going to do with the offensive coordinator again in just a year. And this is wild for Jalen Hurts to once again learn another offense. I don't feel like he had to learn too much from Shane Steichen to Brian Johnson. You figure that it's pretty much the same offense. It's Nick Sirianni's hands all over it. Maybe get him to switch it up a little bit, but he's up out of here. And I can say about Desai, bro, there's this, that, and the third that you can worry about. As far as Brian Johnson, I don't know. I have no excuses what went wrong. A lot of people I heard from this Joe, I call it another dude that was on Sports Take just now, Joe Papalito, Joe Santaliquito, whatever the case may be. He was speaking. He's got the piece on Jalen Hurts and the reasons for his regression. Not so much a lot of people thought it was a hit piece. He seemed to want to make the point extra, double XL, that it was not a hit piece on Jalen Hurts, more so on the downfall of the team as a whole. But getting back to Brian Johnson, I can't really see what Other than it being what Joe Santoliquito said was a decrease in leadership, a step back in leadership in Jalen Hurts' part behalf, maybe that was it. There's not too many things we could point to that he lost. In fact, I mean, a lot of people, and me included, would say that he had a better running back than what they had last year in Miles Sanders. Another year in the scheme for these guys. These guys developing. I mean, damn, record-breaking season by at least at one point of the season when A.J. Brown had the 6 games in a row of 150 plus. Like, you had things firing on all cylinders. The play calling left a lot to be desired. Things were looking very stupid out there when us as fans can see things and say, what the flock is going on? And I mean, that is a fan's job. More often than not, we really don't know what the flock we're talking about. But in this case, the bubble screen has got to go. These things aren't making sense. He also pointed to the fact that you didn't see Jalen Hurts in the flow a lot of times this season. And when I thought about it, I really can't recall one time when I saw Jalen Hurts with a nice flow. More often than not, when we scored, there was big splash plays and that was it. And then boom, we're off the field. Another matriculating drive down the field where we acquired yardage and sucked up the clock. Sucked up the clock. Are you crazy? What the flock is going on? You drained the clock and, matriculated the ball down the field in a methodical manner. There we go. I think I got it. So, things of that sort we just didn't see. And for that matter, I have to say, as much as I hate to say it, I have to co-sign if someone else is going to be a scapegoat, much like Desai, then it's going to be him up out of here. He's got to go. And as far as him, like I said, on the other side, I can see I can deal with the veteran president like Wink or Rivera. I need a veteran president on the offensive side this time too, because we're gonna have to. There's a lot of things going on. There's gonna be a lot of moving parts in this offseason. I believe a veteran coach coming in, someone that has a different set of eyes, who has head coached the team, who has been a head coach. That's the type of guy that I want in these coordinator positions. Just, more adults in the room. Not to say that Nick Sirianni is not an adult. He's a bit wild, though. He's a bit of a wild card. We're going to need that veteran presence to calm him down, steady the ship, get these things right again, steady these wings, get to these clearer skies, fly skies, let's line silver lines, whatever you want to call it. Just get things back better to going in the direction that we need these things to go. We've got that going on. So we've got the offensive coordinator position. And if I want a veteran presence on that side, it would be someone of the like of a Frank Reich. And I've also heard the name Jim Bob Cooter. Don't know where that came from. Isn't he a college guy? I thought he was with Clemson or something. I don't know. I mix up these 3 name guys all the time. Regardless of what, we got that going on. And a Frank Reich, I believe, will be a steadying presence. However, I've heard that he would have to take less money, but I think that's something that we can mitigate on the back end. You know what I'm saying? We've got that going on. And I just think we got to get these things right, and we got to make these decisions right. There's only a few days left to get this going. Not so much a few days left, but pretty soon there's going to be more teams that are in the hunt that we're in. And not to mention, while we're talking about these OCs, there's a big meeting tomorrow. We're here on Nick Sirianni Weave. It's Nick Sirianni Weave. Nick Sirianni Eve. What's going to happen tomorrow? He has a big meeting, I believe, with the GM, with Howie Roseman. I believe he already met with the owner. I don't know how this goes. I know Jeff Steban Lurie, he had a wedding to go to, and now we've got the meeting with, I don't know if it's with the GM and the owner or whatever's going on. He has a big meeting tomorrow, and we don't know right now as it stands if even he'll be here tomorrow. So could be a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on. And if we're getting rid of Sirianni, the guy I want. I want that dude down there in Tampa Bay, the guy who fixed Geno and the guy who fixed Mayfield. Not to say that Jalen needs any fixing, but if he does, this has got to do it. He's resurrected 2 careers, 2 years in a row, and I believe the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks has already been picked up anyway, so he's off the table. And I could see this guy wanting a head coaching job, not wanting to make a lateral move because he's got what he's got going on down there in Tampa Bay already. So why would he want to come up here? Cabela, I believe his last name is. Cabela, whatever. The offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Get him up here if we're into getting new guys like we always like to have these new up-and-comers coming through our building. So that's pretty much where I see that thing if Sirianni has got to go. But now back to the last thing, front, first, and center, the main thing, Mr. Keep the main thing himself, Jalen Hurts. A piece came out from the man, Joseph Santoliquito, speaking on basically, at least in my estimation, the way I see it, the way he was the way he was elocuting it, the way he was saying, the way he was speaking on it was basically there was a deterioration in the intangibles of Jalen Hurts. Not so much on the field. I mean, just a lot of things going on in the past offseason where he couldn't keep his schedule the way he'd like to keep his schedule. Not so much an excuse, just a bit of a reason why we saw a bit of a downfall, not to mention the coaching. Yeah, the coaching and what was going on in the play calling. And a lot of people will point to it and say that they didn't see much of a drop off. You know, his percentage was the same. His yardage went up. The only thing I saw really go up was the turnovers. And the turnovers, at least in my opinion, I lend that to the fact that the play calling was vanilla. And a lot of times you just get sick of doing the same thing over and over again, trying to get a different result, because that's insanity. And you're just trying to basically, there were a lot of the times, at least the way I see it, these were long, these were punts in the form of passes sometimes. Throwing it up there, whatever, we're not going to get it anyway. So let's go. Not all the time. Actually, I have to be real with myself because, yeah, there was some times in the red zone where it was just like, what the flockos we doing? And I would blame that on the play calling also. Like, really, what are we doing? However, Joe Santoliquito seems to believe that a lot of the things, these intangible, it's not the same as, and I know the elephant in the room is a lot of people are thinking like, is this going to be the same as it was with Wentz? How we pay him and then boom, just bow, hit the floor. Complete swan dive into a basically ass career. You know what I mean? So I don't see that happening with Hurts. Joe Santoliquito seems to feel the same, for the simple fact that I believe it's just a matter of him reaching out, touching, getting his schedule back right again. Because remember, just a few years ago when he was out there with Mr. House, the guy, I believe Tom Brady's passing coach, whatever you want to call it, the guy that coached him up on the offseason, the guy that he worked out with, the year that Jalen Hurts worked out with him, we saw what happened. He saw what he put on the field. We saw the product that he put on the field. So now we can get the schedule back right. Get back into your offseason program. Forget all these commercials. Forget all these videos. Forget all these endorsements if you can, because I imagine these things come along with prerequisites and things that you have to fulfill in order to keep this money flowing in. I just need my guy to get back to being the guy that he was before all this came in. People are saying that the money changed. Not so much the money changed him, but I mean, what else? He's saying in this article that players are saying from at least 8 different sources saying, he's different. Saying he changed, not so much for the bad or for the worse, not for the bad or for the good or for the better. We clearly saw it wasn't for the better. And we could say that it possibly was for the bad. It's just, I don't want to throw that on my guy. Much like they say, money doesn't change a person, just makes them more of who they are. And I hope that's not the case. Like, that would be crazy. We don't want that. I just think it was a matter of scheduling and getting things into place. And he's a person, a creature of habit. He's got to break that shell. Much like they said, he is a very mature dude when it comes to leadership, and he's stoic, and he's not a knucklehead off the field. He's not going to do stupid things. But I believe he has to gain a bit of a higher emotional IQ, whereas he's steady. We like the steady Eddie. He's not going to change because, we love that. We love that cool, calm presence when we're winning. Like, look, the dude doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. But now that we see that we've hit the lowest of low, at least the lowest we've seen him since he's been in the NFL, 6 out of 7 games lost. That's wild, even though that's pretty much how he started it, right? It was 1-3 and then 2-5 the next season, 3. Regardless of what, this is a bit different after the success and seeing the precipitous downfall as far as production went on the field. We don't want to see that again, and this is him going through that, navigating that. We want to see a bit more fire, whereas it seemed for him to be a bit too steady for our liking during this rut, if you want to call it that we've been in that we were in for the past 8 weeks of the season. And then we did see some times where he looked a little, we don't normally see that, where he was just like, what the f is going on? And we saw Goddard and him having an exchange on the sideline, whereas if it's him and AJ, we don't mind that. Those are brothers, they're going to go through that. But seeing Deech, Goddard doesn't really usually act out like that. And he's like, what the fuck is going on? We got to get these things right. So these things give me cause for pause going into the season. That's why I've been a bit reticent to hop over it the last few days, because I want to bring that good vibe, at least end with a good vibe. And I really, at this point right now, I can't see any good going forward, at least off of what we saw. The only thing that I can rest my hat on is the same thing that I was resting my hat on towards the end of the season. It's like, we have great leaders on this team, and we're going to get through this, and it didn't happen. So maybe that's just a microcosm of what was, and we have to look at it as the macro. It was just a small thing. You know, you got to go through the fire to get to the, I don't know. To get through this, whatever. It's like much like he said in the last season. I just walked through the fire just to see the smoke. You know, we gotta put this fire out and put it out fast. New coordinators coming through. Who knows? We may have a new head coach coming through. We know that Jalen Hurts is here for the foreseeable future. We're gonna ride with that, and I do have faith that he can get this thing right. But that's just me and me alone, and that's not gonna get it done by itself, in and of itself. And I know he's going to have to prove it to a lot of other fans out there going forward. So we've just got to get this thing right. And the first step in getting this thing right is getting these coordinators right. And like I said, quite possibly a new head coach. Can you believe it? Just a year ago today, less than a year ago, we were in the Super Bowl. Now we're possibly looking at new coaches across the board. We know we're going to have new linebackers. Thank goodness. And like I said, at least as far as the defense goes, we got a bunch of studs coming back on the offense. Even if, God willing, I don't know, even if Jason Kelce doesn't come back, got faith in Cam Jurgens moving over into that position and getting this and righting the ship and keeping this ship hopefully the same way. I know it's hard. Jason Kelce is irreplaceable, but at least a steady presence. It's the guy that he picked out. And I mean, damn, if we're going to have Jason Kelce in the stands next season, you see him at the game, bro. This dude is a madman. I mean, he's hopping out of booths and hopping back up in booths. One fell swoop. What? This dude, he can still fly, man, if you ask me, dude. So, I mean, the offense, at least in my mind, just a few tweaks, and we back to being a well-tuned, fine-tuned machine, right? But this defense is going to take a lot. We got possibly cornerbacks gone, but you know what? At least I know, and from what I'm hearing, for all intents and purposes, that this dude, Isaiah Rodgers, is that dude. He's one of them. So it's good to have him in the fold. A great move by Howie in the previous offseason. Got to love how this dude's mind just keeps moving, you know, and sometimes that may be a bit of a hindrance as far as us progressing in the season that we're in. But as a GM, you always have to be looking forward and moving parts and roll around and things to come. That's a good thing. And then if I was to get into all the other things that I've heard that could possibly be going on in this fall season, we'll be back in the back. So stay in a good place. Isaiah Rodgers, woo! Jason Kelce possibly coming back. Who knows? Fletcher Cox maybe too. Brandon Graham wants to be here. Our boy, yo. Our boy is saying that BG, put him in. And I've wanted to see this a lot too, even though we got a lot of studs in that middle, man. But as far as the NASCAR package goes, putting BG in the middle would be the move. And I'm thinking Clyde Simmons. What? Whatever the case may be, man, till the next time. No, bro, we can't leave on that. We cannot leave on that. What are we talking about, dude? This game called Kaboa is not kicking in. Yeah, that is my Clyde Simmons. Yeah. So, yeah, wants to see BG in the middle. Yeah, man, I'm losing. Y'all taking my Eagle card? What the fuck is going on today? I needed this therapy, though, man. Thank everybody out there for flocking up. Now, let's keep this thing going, man. Can't wait to. We got the draft. What I'm hearing, we got the number 22 pick in this draft. So a lot of people talking, what? Jeremiah Trotter's son? What? Could you imagine? And that would just make everything all right in the world again, man. But till the next time, make it your best time. In the meantime, between time, keep it agreed time. You already know how I like to do around this time, man. We got questions. We got questions for the whole right now. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when Eagle Mania swoops down and runs wild? On you. It's been a while. Say it with me one time, y'all. EAGLES. Eagles. Let's fly, y'all. Woo! Get the fuck out of here.